Tonight, our hospital heroes under attack. Frontline medical staff told to cover up their uniforms in public. Exclusive details just ahead. Virus surge, a big jump in corona cases. The most in more than a month. 6 more in a Melbourne meatpacking plant. A primary school in Melbourne's north shut down after a teacher tests positive. A brave Neil Danaher vows to continue his fight for an MND cure despite this year's big freeze being put on ice. I'm sorry, the truckie charged over the Eastern Freeway tragedy breaks his silence. The heartbreaking homecoming for one of the officers killed in the crash. And exclusive details on a medical breakthrough saving the lives of COVID patients.
Live from Melbourne, 7 News with Mike Amor starts now.
Good evening. It's hard to believe, but our frontline medical heroes are being told to hide their identification and cover up uniforms in public with fears for their safety. Karen O'Sullivan at St Vincent's Hospital in Fitzroy. And Karen, staff there are being targeted.
That's right, Mike. The hospital has confirmed that on several occasions here at the Fitzroy campus, several staff have been harassed as they've been leaving the building after work, to the point now that they fear for their safety. So yesterday, the hospital sent out a message to all staff to remove their ID badges and to cover up their uniforms after their shift and before they leave the building to go home. Now, there have been security guards on site and the hospital is dealing with police on this matter. Hospital spokesman this afternoon confirmed that the harassment is not related to the coronavirus. However, of course, the hospital is saying that its highest priority are the doctors, nurses, administrative staff and patients, Mike.
Thank you. Just as Victorians were hoping for some light at the end of the tunnel, a reminder today there's still a long way to go before the COVID threat is beaten. A surge of 13 new cases, the most in weeks, has sparked fresh concern over cluster breakouts.
It's a record so far. 9,205 COVID tests conducted in Victoria yesterday in screening centres and shopping centres, the most we've done in a day.
The more tests, of course, that we do, the better position we will be in.
Victoria has 13 new cases, our first double-digit increase for more than 2 weeks. 3 were discovered in Victoria's testing blitz, 4 brought it back from overseas, and 6 were from a cluster of cases at an abattoir. The flare-up there is bigger than first thought. Its total now 15. The boss of Cedar Meats in Brooklyn confirming to 7 News it is under investigation by the Health Department. Despite the abattoir outbreak, the Australian Meat Industry Council, which is our largest association for meat processors, wouldn't respond to questions to reassure consumers. Instead, it issued a brief statement insisting the cluster is not entirely unexpected, given that the industry employs over 100,000 people. The state government's 2-week blitz is at the halfway mark. 40,000 extra tests have been completed. The government wants another 60,000 done this week. But a Nobel Prize-winning scientist says Australia has it all wrong.
The standout losers are countries like Austria, Australia, Israel, that actually had very, very strict lockdown, but didn't have many cases. So they have damaged their economies, caused massive social damage, but not obtained any herd immunity.
Paul Dowsley, 7 News.
A Melbourne primary school has been closed and students sent to another school after a teacher tested positive to coronavirus. Blake Johnson is in Epping tonight, and Blake, cleaners have been at the school today.
They have been, Mike, and Meadow Glen Primary will stay closed at least until Wednesday because of this music teacher's diagnosis. Good news is, though, the principal doesn't think any students have been exposed, but the war of words between our state government and the federal government has flared again. A deep clean commences at Meadow Glen Primary. Students will be sent to another school until it's complete. The music teacher and 2 other staff members are now in isolation.
He is so thankful that he hasn't had contact with children. Had it have been this coming week, he would have been working with kids.
Up to 70 students are affected. The clean should take 3 days.
That is a big job now, to relocate to another school.
The shutdown comes as the political fight over whether to get kids back into class rages.
This is a failure of leadership by Dan Andrews.
This morning, the federal minister opened fire, claiming our Premier had taken a sledgehammer to the education system by not having a plan to recommence schools like other states.
I think Victorians understand, who's been leading the effort in Victoria to keep them safe, and that's certainly not been Dan Tehan.
1 hour after the attack, the state government revealed the teacher's diagnosis at Meadow Glen Primary, which led to a rare political backdown. Dan Tehan claimed he was frustrated on behalf of parents, students and teachers, and it was this frustration that led me to overstep the mark in questioning Premier Andrews' leadership on this matter, and I withdraw.
I'm sure that Dan Tehan would have liked to have had that knowledge that the Premier has had, that I have had.
Any official changes to schools are unlikely to come before state of emergency restrictions are reviewed in 8 days. Blake Johnson, 7 News.
AFL great Neil Daniher has been forced to cancel his annual Big Freeze fundraiser for MND because of the pandemic. The football legend is disappointed but determined the fight will go on.
Time is more precious to Neil Daniher than to most, but this year he has no choice other than to put the Big Freeze
down the slide he goes
on hold.
We've locked down the slide, but we haven't locked down the fight.
The fundraiser for MND has become one of the biggest events on the AFL calendar. But as MCG stands remain empty because of the pandemic, the ice slide has been cancelled.
Everyone is doing it tough at the moment.
Despite the setback, the football legend is adamant there's still work to be done. Now, 6 years into his own battle against the deadly disease which destroys muscle nerves, he's fighting harder than ever to find a cure.
It's getting cold. You might need a beanie. If you need a beanie, how about this one?
The fight's going on, it's happening globally, and Vitamin D are right behind that.
Just because this event isn't happening doesn't mean we'll miss out this year. Neil and his team are working on an alternative plan, although the great man isn't giving too much away just yet.
You'll hear more later.
Into the eyes, Stevens to go!
Christy Mayer, 7 News.
There's been another death at the Sydney aged care home at the centre of a coronavirus cluster. A 76-year-old woman who twice tested negative for COVID-19 has died in hospital after falling ill. 14 deaths are now linked to Newmarch House. Families are begging to be allowed to take relatives home. More than 4 million Australians have downloaded the COVID Safe app. While many more are encouraged to follow, experts say the 40% target is no longer required for restrictions to ease. Community sport likely the first activity to return in some states.
11-year-old Georgia Elson is feeling head over heels about the prospect of getting back to sport.
Absolutely amazing. It gets away from my brothers.
Mum Janice will be happy too.
Very important for mental health, actually.
Clearly, this has to be staged. So there will be a stage 1 and there will be a stage 2.
Stages based on principles set by the Australian Institute of Sport. The first 2 allowing most solo sports, athletics, swimming and strength training, and training and playing most ball sports, but with no contact. The Chief Medical Officer thinks hygiene changes to some traditional sporting practices should be permanent.
I don't think saliva to shining cricket balls is a good thing at all.
4.2 million Australians have now downloaded the COVID Safe app, but it seems falling short of the 40% target of 6 million won't stop that first phase of easing going ahead. National Cabinet is likely to approve the staged return of sport at its meeting on Friday.
But the more confidence they have, the more bold they might be.
As new figures show, 700,000 businesses approved for the JobKeeper payments covering 4.4 million workers, 1.6 million fewer than the 6 million projected, running $35 billion below the $130 billion budget. The sectors with the highest demand for the job subsidies: professional, science and technical services, construction, retail and hospitality, with demand likely to slow as the restrictions are turned on their head. Mark Riley, 7 News.
It's been revealed the British government drew up plans to announce Boris Johnson's death as he lay in intensive care with coronavirus. Now out of hospital and a new dad, the UK has launched a medical trial, hopeful those who've recovered from COVID-19 can help others still suffering.
A room full of COVID-19 survivors giving blood and much more. Jo's whole family fell sick with coronavirus, including her husband.
It was a very frightening experience. So for me, when the opportunity to do this came along, it was a no-brainer.
She's one of 30 people in Birmingham giving blood, but not normally. Special machines are extracting the plasma to be given to those critically ill with coronavirus. It's hoped those precious antibodies in the donor plasma will help stop the virus invading a sick patient's cells after a transfusion. A small Chinese study suggests it might work.
When the call came through yesterday asking whether I wanted to give some plasma, it was an easy option, just yes, anything to do to help.
If the trial's successful, 5,000 people a week in the UK could receive the treatment. Proven treatments using either plasma or already available drugs is seen by doctors here as a fast track to lifting lockdowns as the world waits for a vaccine that works. Boris Johnson has revealed just how close he came to succumbing to COVID-19 in a newspaper interview, saying, "I was not in a particularly brilliant shape and I was aware there were contingency plans in place," as Number 10 considered how to announce the Prime Minister's death, described as a death of Stalin-style scenario. His new baby, cradled by fiancée Carrie, has been named Wilfred Laurie Nicholas, after the two doctors named Nick, who saved Boris Johnson's life. In London, Hugh Whitfield, 7 News.
For the most severe cases of COVID-19, the odds of recovery aren't in your favour. But a new treatment is giving those patients a fighting chance. Tonight, 7 News takes you behind the scenes with the Australian researchers at the forefront of this global effort to save lives.
As the world's brightest minds race to find a treatment for COVID-19, Australian researchers are now leading the way.
It potentially is an important breakthrough. It's still only in very early phase.
The groundbreaking trial was carried out in New York, spearheaded by the Victor Chang Cardiac Research Institute, and uses mesenchymal stem cells to treat COVID patients.
These stem cells appear to be able to dampen that immune response to help patients recover.
The results were staggering.
This method has been used in about 12 patients in New York City, and 9 of them, 75%, were able to successfully come off ventilators.
Every academic center, every research center needs to pull together to work on this.
Dr. George Finane is the Chief of Cardiology at NYU Langone Hospital. He contracted COVID-19 not from a patient, but community transmission. Now he's recovered and treating patients with the virus.
These research trials are immensely important, and they will make the difference in the future.
The next phase is to conduct trials in Australia. That will be facilitated by the Victor Chang Institute, along with St Vincent's Hospital and 2 other hospitals in Victoria. It's hoped the treatment will reduce the fatality rate of those on ventilators. Samantha Brett, 7 News.
The truck driver charged over the deaths of 4 police officers in the Eastern Freeway crash has broken his silence. Cassie Zervos is at police headquarters tonight, and Cassie, he's apologised.
Mike Mahinder Singh, the man who allegedly ploughed his truck into 3 cars, killing 4 police officers, says he's deeply sorry for the pain he's caused. In a statement released through his lawyer, Mr. Singh is genuinely sorry and saddened that 4 people have lost their lives as a result of the collision. He is aware of the impact upon the families, friends and work colleagues. The 47-year-old has been charged with 4 counts of culpable driving causing death. He faced court last week but didn't apply for bail. He'll be back in court in October. Mike.
Cassie Zervos, thank you. And the body of one of the victims of the tragedy has finally reached home. Police lined roads for kilometres to salute fallen officer Glenn Humphreys.
A 1,000-kilometre procession to demonstrate support and solidarity
From region to region, New South Wales police officers handed over escort duties. Firefighters used their trucks to light up the dark night as the body of Glenn Humphreys was returned home. Emotions peaked when the procession arrived at the constable's hometown of Newcastle. Locals stopped in their tracks. The recently graduated policeman who had left to serve the Victorian public given full honours as a returning hero. Victorians have opened their hearts and wallets in response to the deaths of the 4 police officers killed. A Victoria Police Legacy fundraiser has generated $1.5 million in just over a week.
We weren't expecting that amount. I'm just astounded by the level of support.
Organisers vow that every cent will go to the families of leading Senior Constable Lynette Taylor, Senior Constable Kevin King, Constable Joshua Presney and Constable Glenn Humphreys. It's the biggest response to a fundraiser to support loved ones of police killed in the line of duty.
We're with you, we're feeling your pain, and Victoria Police, we're with you as well.
The appeal will remain open until April next year. The funeral for Constable Joshua Presney will be held tomorrow morning here at Xavier College. His family has strong ties to this school. The school showing its respect by lighting up the chapel in blue in honour of the police. Now, the funeral will be another deeply moving occasion. More heartache for police who will mourn 4 of their colleagues in almost as many days, Mike.
Cambo, thank you. Former North Melbourne coach Dean Laidley has been arrested. The premiership player and father of 3 has fronted court facing multiple charges. He did not apply for bail and the 53-year-old will remain in custody until May 11. Jackie Felgate's here now, and Jack, you'll be speaking one-on-one with a star cat soon.
That's right, Mike. 18 club captains were on a phone hookup with the AFL boss. Joel Selwood was one of them, and he'll join us exclusively later in sport. Plus, we go one-on-one with Aussie run machine Marnus Labuschagne about cricket's short-term future. Why a Game of Thrones star really is a mountain of a man. We'll show you his world record-breaking effort. And, Mike, the Melbourne Storm could be sporting refugees. We'll tell you why a little later.
OK, see you then, Jack. A young vandal has posted his shocking crimes on social media. His rampage, including hurling a gas bottle into a car windscreen, is coming up next. A major travel agency backs down on charging sky-high cancellation fees. Direct from Matt Moran to you, how you can still order off the menu from some of Australia's best restaurants. And the stunning snow show, thanks to our wintry blast.
7 News, brought to you by Business Australia.
If you're in business in Australia, right now you're facing one of your toughest challenges. It's not business as usual, and it's hard to know where to turn. Business Australia can help you manage your responsibilities to your employees, look after their health and well-being, and assist with strategies to maintain and sustain your business. We've been helping Australian businesses through thick and thin for 194 years, and we're here for you now. For free advice and support, visit businessaustralia.com.
Made a huge mistake, and I've regretted it ever since.
You slept with my brother. You covered it up for 20 odd years, and my daughter might be his. I'll always be your dad, and you'll always be my daughter, no matter what.
I can't do it. What if he's not my dad?
Home and Away, this week at 7 on 7. New Special K Lower Sugar. Rise with us. Rise with protein for muscle. With less than 4 grams of sugar. Set goals, then kick them. Try New Special K Lower Sugar.
Unpolished beauty. It defines our country. And at Stratco, it's what we do. Custom crafting, roofing and cladding solutions for remarkable Australian homes. Colorbond Steel's stunning matte finish. Brought to life by Stratco How To.
A lot's changed over the last few months. For over 100 years, Allianz Australia has supported its customers through uncertainty and change. And we'll continue to ensure what matters most to you, because our support doesn't stop here.
At Rapid Tune, we'll keep you moving with our range of services, from brakes, shocks, electricals and all your general mechanical repairs under the one roof.
We perform all the vehicle services that you need to protect your new car warranty, as well as any mechanical repairs. Every Rapid Tune outlet is also a licensed air conditioning specialist.
We stock a range of tyres from the best brands at competitive prices, as well as balancing and wheel alignments using the latest state-of-the-art equipment.
Book online today at rapidtune.com.au.
Rapid Tune, we'll keep you moving.
With McDelivery, Macca's comes to you contact-free. This weekend, get free delivery on orders $25 or more via the Uber Eats app with promo code MACCASFAN.
And I get 5 years cap price servicing with my new Koala.
Well, they're impressed.
We're here to keep you moving forward. That's why our Toyota dealerships and service centres are still open. Older feeling. Toyota.
You can open it now. Happy Mother's Day!
Oh, thanks, love. Look what Amy got me.
Be Mum's instant favourite with instant scratchets.
Have you two muted?
Hello, this is Mark Watney. I did not die. Surprise.
Matt Damon in the movie event, The Martian, tonight on 7.
Tasty, affordable and delicious. What's for dinner in the next break with Coles?
Police are investigating these videos obtained by 7 News after reports of a vandalism spree in Melbourne's north on Friday night. A man can be seen using a gas bottle to smash the bonnet of a car in Melton West. Detectives believe the same group is responsible for damaging a nearby sign. They're yet to make any arrests. 2 men are in police custody after a violent home invasion in Docklands. The duo forced entry into a Collins Street apartment around 2 a.m. They attacked a 22-year-old before police arrived and arrested them. The victim is being treated in hospital. 7 News can reveal a Rugby Princess cruise member was put in an induced coma on board the ship after suffering respiratory failure from COVID-19 days after passengers disembarked. As the man fights for life, the New South Wales government is being accused of a cover-up.
On board the Rugby Princess, a crew member fights for life, sedated and on a ventilator. 72 hours pass before he finally makes land.
They thought that no one was watching, and now we've seen a cover-up, of course, in regard to the treatment of passengers and crew.
At the time, New South Wales Health said that he was thought to have COVID-19, while the company described acute respiratory symptoms. But documents from the Civil and Administrative Tribunal reveal the 38-year-old crew member was in a coma and clinging to life. He suffered severe respiratory failure, was intubated and sedated on board the ship. It took 3 days for him to be taken to hospital. The breathing tube burst last week, requiring an emergency replacement, placing him and intubators at significant risk. A Princess spokesman said he received professional care at all times, adding there was no delay in the crew member's transfer to hospital, and we received full assistance in this from New South Wales Health and the New South Wales Ambulance Service.
The welfare of the crew was not a priority for government.
A New South Wales Health spokesman said due to legal advice, we're not commenting. They still hope the man will recover, but he'll be critically weak for some time. Taylor Auerbach, 7 News.
Travel booking giant Flight Centre is backflipping on a controversial fee charged to customers seeking a refund on cancelled trips. The company is reacting to weeks of public pressure from customers fighting to get their money back.
Adam Gleeser couldn't believe it when Flight Centre charged him $600 to refund his $600 deposit for a cancelled cruise.
How anyone could actually put that offer out there, it just all seemed crazy.
That led him to start a Facebook group against the processing fee.
We thought that we would look into a class action suit against the Flight Centre company.
Australia's consumer watchdog fielded thousands of complaints and stepped in. Flight Centre finally waiving its cancellation fees.
A lot of people were out of pocket a lot of money, so not only have they stopped the cancellation fee going forward, but they're going to refund people.
Backdated to March 13.
We're acting in the best interests of our customers at all times, and we're here to make sure we want to get the money back to you. But most important, we want to be able to get you travelling again.
Since the pandemic shut down travel, Flight Centre staff have been inundated with a flood of cancellations. They've been threatened and abused by customers, frustrated with extra charges and lengthy delays. Patience needed as the company works through 3 years' worth of cancellations in 12 weeks.
The length of time that the money takes to come back from our suppliers can be anything from 12 weeks up to 6 months in some cases.
More delays for a grounded travel industry. Elliot Chipper, 7 News.
Sorry to tell you, but Melbourne's cold snap isn't over yet. Melina Saris, it's been a chilly weekend, hasn't it?
It has, Mike, and it is staying cool tomorrow again, but thankfully we can expect some nicer autumn days this week. The cold snap brought blizzards to our alpine areas 5 weeks out from the official start to the snow season. This is Falls Creek. More than 60 centimetres of snow has fallen there over the past few days, but the storms cleared and they had beautiful blue skies throughout the day. A strong low-pressure system responsible for the cold and wet conditions moved out to the Tasman Sea overnight, so things are starting to improve. We're staying dry and a large high-pressure system is now edging towards us. It'll slowly move across Victoria on Monday and Tuesday, keeping that wet weather at bay, and that will bring us some nicer, warmer temperatures for the next few days at least before that next cold front moves in on Thursday. I'll have all those details after sport, Mike.
See that cold front stalking us. Thanks, Mel. Just ahead, a lifeline for one of our top tourist attractions, how Phillip Island's Penguin Parade is being protected. First Britain, now America. Is there a link between coronavirus and a rare children's disease? The Cambridge cold call, what Kate said to a sleepless new mum. And retailers have been urged, get ready to reopen. But what will it look like?
The dream family.
We live in our house with our 3 kids.
About to set foot in their dream home.
All right, should we go in, guys?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Oh!
The family-sized whole house reveal. Wait till you see what they're seeing. The heartwarming transformation.
You okay?
It's so beautiful.
The reveals coming up next on 7.
I'm Stephanie Alexander, and now that we're all at home, we're going to do lots of cooking, I know. Some of you are cooking for a family, and I am cooking just for one. But I'm going today make one of my favourite dishes, which is ratatouille, and it makes a lot. So it's ideal because I can have some for now, and then I can freeze some in small containers for later on. So I'm going to show you how I prepare the tomatoes. These 3 have been dipped in boiling water for about a minute and stripped of their skin. Give them a squeeze to get out most of the seeds. Just a rough chop, don't have to be particularly precise because these tomatoes are just going to melt into the sauce. So you want to cut these peppers into pieces about 3 centimetres square and then move on to onion and garlic. I'm going to cut my eggplant. They are inclined to be a bit slippery. So I recommend slicing an eggplant with a serrated knife. I'm going to move straight on to chopping the zucchini into thickish rounds. As you can see, the ratatouille is a very colourful, exciting dish. Okay, my olive oil in the pan, and straight away I'm putting in the onion and the garlic. My onions have softened, in go the peppers. And I'm also going to add 2 bay leaves from the garden and a few pieces of rosemary. And then I'm going to lower the heat and cover the pot for a good 5 minutes. Okay, now's the moment to add the eggplant. So it's all going in. And now I'm going to add the chopped tomato, sea salt, freshly ground black pepper, and I'm now going to transfer the pot to the oven, which is on at 180 degrees for about 40 minutes. So the ratatouille has been cooking for quite some time. I'm now going to add the zucchini. The zucchini going in. I'm going to add a tiny little sliver of olive oil. And then the lid's going back on, and I'm going to put it back in the oven for another 20 minutes. Here we go, the moment of truth. Look at that. Now, of course, you could just serve it like this with a leg of lamb, or you can divide it up into small portions, which is what I usually do, so I have some for another day. It's a great time to get your kids interested in cooking with you and being interested in food generally. To find out more, go to the Stephanie Alexander Kitchen Garden Foundation website, and for this recipe, go to coles.com.au.
Victoria's zoos and wildlife parks have received a multi-million-dollar lifeline. It's hoped to keep the state's most popular tourist destinations afloat and their workforce employed.
Phillip Island's Penguin Visitor Centre is eerily empty. Thousands of local and international visitors would usually tread these boardwalks daily.
It is a really strange phenomenon to have time without visitors.
Phillip Island's 4 nature parks have received $8.8 million, the lion's share of the government's wildlife funding.
Just keeping those 200 jobs safe is huge.
$5.5 million will ensure staff at the Melbourne Zoo, Healesville Sanctuary and Werribee Open Range Zoo can also continue to care for our favourite animals. While we can't get close at the moment, wildlife lovers remain virtually connected through live streams. The Phillip Island nature parks are open 365 days of the year, including Christmas Day. But tonight, like every other night since the pandemic shutdown, thousands of penguins will waddle up the beach towards their burrows without a single spectator in sight. Tourism staff at Phillip Island are being redeployed. Some are caring for koalas who were injured in the Gippsland fires and are experiencing their own chlamydia-free quarantine.
Some of them could be here for quite a while yet.
For now, like most of us, they're making the most of their restricted living conditions. Karen O'Sullivan, 7 News.
The World Health Organization is investigating a possible link between coronavirus and a mystery illness in children. Doctors have reported almost 100 cases of a rare inflammatory disease in young patients across 6 countries, fearing COVID-19 is the cause.
12 years old, intubated and fighting for every breath.
Her lips were blue and her arms were cold. Her body was going into shock.
Little Juliet Daly was airlifted to a Louisiana hospital after complaining of stomach pains. There, she tested positive for coronavirus.
Her heart rate started dropping even more. It went from 40 to 20 to 0.
Doctors believe Juliet suffered a rare complication from COVID-19.
This new shock syndrome is really a very small tip of a larger iceberg.
British doctors first raised the alarm last week. Now, paediatricians in the US are reporting a small number of cases where COVID-positive children are developing symptoms resembling Kawasaki disease, a rare blood vessel disorder.
Right now, we're still trying to learn as we go.
America's crippling death toll, mostly adults, is clear. In New York, another 299 deaths in 24 hours.
That number has remained obnoxiously and terrifyingly high.
Here in Los Angeles, the focus is on widespread testing to get a clearer picture of the crisis. The city's the first to offer them for free. The wait today, over 2 hours. But protesters refuse to wait any longer for California to reopen. Orders to stay at home ignored. In Los Angeles, Ashley Mullaney, 7 News.
A man has been stabbed in a city lift. The victim was leaving a Rose Lane apartment around 1:30 this morning when he was attacked. He managed to make it to a nearby police station and was taken to hospital for treatment. As if being a brand new mum right now isn't tough enough. Add to that a surprise drop-in from the Duchess of Cambridge, dialing in for a virtual visit.
Oh, congratulations. And when did you have him?
Last night at 10 p.m.
My goodness, you must be exhausted.
Yeah, she was. Rebecca Atwood admits she'd had just 2 hours sleep when the call came in, calling it surreal. The video was released to raise awareness about mental health issues facing new parents. We're slowly starting to see some retailers re-emerge, but they open to a different world under the COVID cloud. For many, the future is uncertain, desperate to survive while juggling the safety of their customers.
A ghost town Friday, bustling on Saturday.
It is lovely to see them begin to open.
Shoppers urged to support local business.
It is really important to make sure that you shop with those stores and those brands that, have treated you well over the years, because ultimately they're the ones that employ in our local area and in our local economies.
Out of the pandemic storm with restrictions.
Our focus is maintaining and managing the social distancing requirements and ensuring that we are providing a safe and hygienic place for our customers and our retailers.
We're going to have to get used to shopping with the 1.5 metre rule. Retailers have told us that could be in place until a COVID-19 vaccine is released.
There's obviously a lot more click and collect, a lot more home delivery, a lot more online ordering, but we're also seeing a lot of our apparel, fashion, footwear retailers working out ways that they can serve their customers whilst observing the 1.5 metre social distancing.
That means most stores will have permanent floor distance markers. Checkout space is being increased. Not all will accept cash. Security will be very noticeable. Where needed, there will be wider aisles. And here at Brisbane's Indooroopilly, the Purple Army, helping shoppers to stay safe.
But these are new sneeze guards.
Here to stay at supermarkets for now. Restaurants are reinventing themselves.
We have leadership classes for our managers as well, so that we can better service our customer when we actually come back to normal trade.
Whatever normal turns out to be. Steve Titmus, 7 News.
Struggling home buyers are being offered a new way into the housing market. Just ahead, find out how you can try before you buy to own your own home. Parked in a warehouse for 40 years, a dusty collectible gets a new home. Just how much it sold for next. And the rescue that was more than a koala could bear.
Hello, Matt. I have been watching you.
I've lived in Broken Hill my whole life. What bloody flies. Born and bred and grown up in the country. I'm a sparky in one of the local mines. Got my beautiful fiancée, Jess. Definitely the best thing that's ever happened to me. It's a bit of a running joke that I'm Don Bradman and about above my average with Jess.
You got to sort of make your own fun a bit out here in little old Brokers. A lot of family still in town. Big friendship network. It's pretty laid back. Really got that community spirit.
I am Big Brother, and I've chosen you.
I gotta be me.
Welcome to my brand new house.
I hope I'm a pretty likeable guy.
Matt, it's not about being likeable. It's about doing whatever I say.
Got to keep my wits about myself. Some people conniving, backstabbing. Others will genuinely be on your side.
When the dust settles, will you be the last one standing?
It's a game. You've got to remember that. If someone's coming after my back, it's kill or be killed in my book.
That's the spirit.
I bring humour, wit, some smarts and some ADHD energy. Beautiful big head and a little touch of budgie smuggler action.
Let's hope you're ready for what I've got planned.
Big Brother, what are you playing at?
I am Big Brother. Who wins? You decide.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The first thing I do after waking up to a delicious breakfast of Be Natural cereal is go right back to bed. Be Natural. Everyday goodness for real people.
There's only one thing to look for. Choose a super fund with this symbol.
We're all in this together.
Upload's that way, OR's the other way. What do you want to do?
Upload.
Anytime you need me, I'll be here for you.
In-app purchase required.
I'm not even supposed to be here.
Do you think I wanted to fall into the Grand Canyon?
I saw that video. You dabbed on the way down.
That's how you hit the lights.
Hyundai's end of financial year sale is on. Get great value across our eye-catching range. Like the Hyundai i30 Hatch with the confidence of a 7-year warranty. And end of financial year bonuses on selected SUVs, including the Hyundai Tucson. And 7-seat petrol V6 Hyundai Santa Fe. Hyundai's end of financial year sale. See it to believe it.
1, 2, 3, 4. So clap it back. Hey, clap, clap. So clap it back. Hey, I'm getting you right back. 'Cause you're not gonna stand around living like that. So clap it back. Clap it. Clap, clap. Alright. So clap it back. Hey, hey.
Centrum provides multiple health benefits in just one tablet. Centrum, complete from A to Zinc.
At Open Universities Australia,
We'll help you find the right study choice for you. All in one place. Start at open.edu.au. Explore, choose, enrol.
With more than 20% protein from muscle development, Nutri-Grain is one of the highest protein cereals.
Melbourne housing developers are offering struggling home buyers a helping hand onto the property ladder. The unusual Try Before You Buy scheme promises affordability and cheaper living expenses.
An old Kensington CD and tape factory is being demolished to make way for this. Sustainable apartments aimed at low to middle income earners.
I feel like I already have an emotional attachment to it. It doesn't even exist yet.
Felicity hasn't saved a deposit, but she will move into her 2-bedroom apartment as soon as it's built. This scheme allows her to rent it for 5 years, then buy it for a fixed price.
The 5-year period provides, I think, a long enough period of time for us to be able to pay rent while also saving that substantial amount of money that we know we all need for a deposit now.
Developer Chris Daff has 2 Kensington Rent Before You Buy projects on the go and gives tenants access to a financial coach who helps them save.
We think this building is going to be so great and you're going to have such a great time living there that you're going to want to stay there renting for 5 years and ultimately you're going to want to buy it.
Affordable housing is a state government priority, with build-to-rent apartments underway next to the Queen Victoria Market. Here, tenants won't buy, but will enjoy stable housing through long-term leases. In Kensington, residents have first right to buy, but are not locked in.
There is no discount to the market purchase price. So if the property's value stays the same or goes down, then going ahead and choosing to rent to buy doesn't seem like it's going to be much benefit to you.
Property values are tipped to slide as a result of the pandemic. Here, prices start at around $500,000. Jackie Quist, 7 News.
A rare Mercedes has sold for a fortune after gathering dust for more than 40 years. The 1960 300 SL Roadster has been hidden away in an Indiana warehouse. Its previous owner brought it in 1976 and stored it soon after, so it only has about 24,000 kilometres on the clock, one of just 249 built in that year. It's just sold for $1.5 million. It's tricky to pull off a rescue, especially when your target doesn't want saving. But crews in Adelaide pushed ahead for this guy's own good. The Koala had been hit by a car and retreated up a tree. Teams with a cherry picker tried to coax it down, but crews on the ground struggled to get a hold of it. They eventually had success, the animal taken to a local hospital for treatment. Some of Australia's top chefs have opened their menus back up just in time for Mother's Day. Still to come, the dining out experience without leaving the house. That's up soon. Remind me, I've got some shopping to do.
Indeed.
We're about to get the inside word on the weekend's phone hookup with AFL captains, and Jackie is here with that and much more, Jack.
Hello again, Mike. Yes, coming up, our exclusive chat with Cats captain Joel Selwood about plans for the AFL restart. Plus, why an Aussie run machine's first ever contract is missing an extra zero. We'll speak to him exclusively. A New Zealand Warriors player refused permission to board their flight to Australia will cross to Tamworth. And proof a Game of Thrones actor really is a man-mountain.
Very occasionally, someone comes onto the stage and you think, they are born to be a superstar.
Her voice will have the entire audience on their feet.
This is what the world has been waiting for.
Brand new Britain's Got Talent, Wednesday 7:30 on 7.
At Rapid Tune, we'll keep you moving with our range of services, from brakes, shocks to general repairs. We stock tyres from the best brands, are licensed air conditioning specialists, and offer wheel alignments and servicing that'll protect your warranty. Rapid Tune, we'll keep you moving.
How did your ancestors find their way here? Why did they leave for distant shores? What did they build and where did they work? Find the answers with Ancestry, the world's leading online family history company. Connect with the people and places that led to you. Start searching for free at ancestry.com.au.
Guess who's on the telly?
Mummy. Hi, Mummy.
Hi, sweetheart.
Proudly fueling Australian hockey fans big and small. Sultana brand. Full-on days start with full-on fibre.
It's tax time. Stimulate your business now. Check your business's eligibility for the government instant asset write-off. Purchases made before June 30. The Ram 1500 pickup truck eats utes for breakfast.
I want you on my side. Be greedy, be hungry.
He's not capable of alliance.
I am a monster.
The brand new season of Billions, now streaming only on Stan.
Harris Scarf's 3-day massive May sale is now on. Take 50% off all cookware, ovenware, dinner sets and cutlery, 50% off all pillows, quilts, underlays and toppers, and 50% off all sheets and comforters. Hurry, don't miss out. See in-store or online for details.
Thank you, Victoria.
For keeping your distance.
And keeping your cool.
For facing this with courage.
And talking face to face every day.
For telling your workmates you're on mute.
And your neighbours, you're there for them.
Thanks for staying in and helping out, because it's working.
But we can't stop now. There's still a way to go.
And staying apart keeps us together.
To find out how you can help keep us together, visit vic.gov.au/coronavirus. Authorised by the Victorian Government, Melbourne.
Welcome back. We begin tonight with one of the 18 captains on this weekend's unprecedented phone hookup with AFL boss Gil McLachlan. Joel Selwood, welcome to 7 News. What was your main takeout from that meeting?
Hey, Jack. To be honest, it was just a call to ask us to be a little bit patient, to be honest. And then obviously earlier in the week, we had a phone hookup with all sort of players involved that was related to the hubs and whatnot. But Gil just asked us to be patient, basically, and wait for the governments to find out with which way they're going.
Of course, a possible start date has been flagged for June 11 or June 18. Do you think that that's possible?
Yeah, I think it is possible, but I'm not going to guess at any of those dates just yet.
And how much would you personally prefer a fly-in, fly-out model rather than the hubs?
Ideally, I think it suits probably a lot more players, but you know, I think at the same time as players, we should be open to the hubs if it has to be, and there might be a time where we just might have to, you know, pull up our socks and get it done for the supporters and sponsors out there.
Now, the Northern Territory says we can actually play games there with crowds. Do you think we should consider that?
I think everything will be considered right now. Whether that goes ahead, I think there'll probably be a plan in place that may allow that to happen at some stage. So I think the AFL will be weighing up everything right now.
And we've also seen you building a house in Barwon Heads on social media. How handy are you?
No, not handy at all. I go down and do the site inspection every now and then, and that's as far as it gets. I sort of drop the boys a coffee and then off we go.
Oh, well, thank you so much for your time tonight, Joel Selwood.
Thanks, Jack.
Having received his first national contract, Marnus Labuschagne should be Australian cricket's newest $1 million man. But while he waits to learn about pay cuts and schedule changes, our batting machine is using life in lockdown to build an even greater appetite for runs.
In their Bayside Brisbane backyard, the family Labrador's not the only one benefiting from a bounty.
I bought about 100 tennis balls from my local tennis club before this all started. Probably taped about 30, 40 balls up. If I get that itch to hit some balls, at least it gives me something to sort of do.
That itch is chronic. We've known that since meeting Marnus Labuschagne out the back of the Marconi Club in late 2018.
As a cricketer, unfortunately, we play a very unsatisfying game where it doesn't matter how much success you have, you want more.
He should be back in county cricket now, where last year a run feast like few before it began.
Getting to play at Lords was amazing. My first Test 100 at the Gabba in front of my family and friends. I was able to get my first one-day 100 in Poch, where I grew up.
And a record 896-run 5-Test summer. Number 3 batsman in the world, Sachin Tendulkar's new favourite. Then coronavirus. Cricket's in financial crisis. Marnus should have been cashing in, but he'd probably play for free.
It's really hard to watch sort of things unfold and you know, obviously the loss of jobs and stuff like that.
What a summer it could be. Labuschagne v Koala, if we're lucky.
Whatever sort of cricket we're playing, that I'm ready for that and come out of this isolation period better, as a better player and as a better person.
Matt Carmichael, 7 News.
Melbourne Storm could be sports refugees after being denied a Victorian government exemption to train at home from tomorrow.
They sought an exemption. That exemption was not granted. No one is going to be getting special treatment.
In response, the Storm will set up a training base in Albury, but because that hasn't been approved yet by New South Wales authorities, they may not be able to resume training with the other 15 clubs on Tuesday. Storm players have been granted permission to meet at Amy Park tomorrow to undergo temperature testing and a biosecurity briefing before heading to Albury. Meanwhile, Rugby League's restart is gathering momentum, with the New Zealand Warriors touching down in Tamworth a short time ago, but 2 players weren't on the flight. Michelle Bishop is there.
Good evening. Every single player that came off that plane was heavily masked up, certainly not risking anything at all. They'll make their way through customs, which is expected to take up to an hour. But as you say, they have been missing 2 star players. Hooker Nathaniel Roach didn't even get to the airport. He woke up this morning with flu-like symptoms and contacted the club straight away. The Warriors acted swiftly following all protocol. They told him to stay home, and I must stress that he was never in contact with any other player. Now, he's been tested and is awaiting results, but the other news out of the Warriors camp is David Fusatua. He didn't make the trip. He's delayed his trip to Australia. He's been granted permission to do that for personal reasons. Now, earlier today, 7 News captured the Aussie contingent making their way into their isolation area, which is, of course, at Scully Park.
Basically re-engineers, their day-to-day life and how they operate from the time they wake up to the time that they come home and put themselves to bed.
That's where they'll be based for the next 14 days.
And Icelandic strongman Hafthor Julius Bjornsson, who played the Mountain in the hit series Game of Thrones, has broken the world deadlift record. After 2 warm-up lifts of 420 kilograms and 460 kilos, if you don't mind, he successfully lifted an eye-popping 501 kilos.
It's just historic. I'm proud of myself.
The half-ton feat was 1 kilogram heavier than the previous strongman record. How do you go with the old deadlift?
Nothing like the big fella, no.
That's right.
Thanks, Jack. Getting takeaway food is no longer limited to the local pizza place. Some of the most famous restaurants and chefs are now offering their wares direct to your home, and there's no reservation necessary.
Right across Australia, the hospitality industry has been crippled. Venues closed, thousands of staff unemployed. And celebrity chef Matt Moran, owner of some of Sydney's most high-profile restaurants, wasn't immune.
It was just heart-wrenching to think that, God, you can go from such an empire to all of a sudden everything being closed down.
Like so many, he's had to change his business model.
Who would have ever thought that we would do takeaway from Chiswick?
Offering some of his signature dishes, pre-packed and ready to cook at home.
So you've got the roast chicken, you've got the famous lamb shoulder.
Keeping his staff in the kitchen and, importantly, a job.
Now, I've got most of my head chefs from other venues in here also.
And for Mother's Day, well, you can't bring your mum to a restaurant, but you can always bring the restaurant to your mum.
We're normally massively busy at the grounds for Mother's Day. We offer a high tea, we offer roasts and things like that, so we're offering that now for home delivery.
Another business meeting the challenge of ever-changing restrictions.
We're sort of reacting to what people are wanting and what people are trying to access within the regulations.
At Manny's Diner, their chefs are going from the kitchen to the curb.
We're training them to cook and drive, and that way we can cover all bases.
Keeping their meals on wheels. Samantha Brett, 7 News.
All right, I'm hungry now. Melina is next with the forecast. And Mel, when will we start to see some nicer weather?
Well, Mike, tomorrow is staying chilly, but we'll have sunshine and warmer temperatures by Tuesday. I'll have all the details next.
the dream family.
We live in our house with our 3 kids.
About to set foot in their dream home.
All right, should we go in, guys?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Oh,
The family-sized whole house reveal. Wait till you see what they're seeing. The heartwarming transformation.
You okay?
It's so beautiful.
The reveals coming up next on 7.
If you've been stood down during the COVID-19 crisis but have a workplace injury, you still have rights. Carbone Lawyers are open for business and here to take care of you no matter the situation. Don't settle for less. Call Carbone Lawyers on 1800 369 888 today.
JB stores are open for business with the hottest deals to keep you connected, like the Samsung Galaxy A51 phone for $529 and this Oppo Reno 2Z phone for $549. Buy in-store, online click and collect or get it delivered. JB, you've done it again.
A ticket in the MS Dream Home Lottery is more than a chance to win one of 2 $1.5 million grand prizes.
Thousands of Australians are living with multiple sclerosis, and at present there's no clear cause or cure. Our goal at MS is to help people living with multiple sclerosis to get the best out of every day. The money raised from the lottery helps us to do that, so thank you for your support.
You too can make a difference. Get your tickets today.
At Rapid Tune, we'll keep you moving with our range of services, from brakes, shocks to general repairs. We stock tyres from the best brands, are licensed air conditioning specialists and offer wheel alignments and servicing that'll protect your warranty. Rapid Tune, we'll keep you moving.
If you're a small business, you've probably got a lot of questions right now, which is why you should speak to a professional accountant who's trained in planning and cash flow management strategies. For further support, contact a professional accountant today.
How safe are those things? Shame.
At Toyota, we're all about your safety. That's why our dealerships and service centres are staying open. Older feeling. Toyota.
Welcome to Bunnings. We put measures in place to keep us all safe.
You can order online, drive to the store and collect with contact-free pickup.
You may have to queue on arrival to limit the amount of customers in store.
We're also limiting the number of people per aisle.
Protective screens have been installed.
And line markings and tables to keep us 1.5 metres apart. Contactless payment is preferred where possible.
We're doing the best we can to get you in and out of Bunnings quickly and safely. Thanks for your patience.
Oh, I just went and got some milk.
Hey, wait a sec. Let's try new white choc flavour.
Just like a white choc milkshake, only crunchy.
At AGL, we're there for whatever life holds, for tomorrow's reunions and today's favourite meals. We lit our nation's first gas street lamp, and we're still proudly Australian, powering Australia towards tomorrow. You can't always see us, yet we're there, the energy within. AGL.
Hello again. The worst of the cold and wet weather is over. We have one more chilly day before it starts to warm up. The city didn't drop below 9.8 throughout the night and got to 15 around lunchtime, but it stalled there. And looking outside now in the city, sitting on 13 degrees, there was a final burst of showers overnight. These are the 24-hour rainfall totals to 9 a.m. Some of our eastern suburbs picked up between 15 and 20 millimetres, and there's been nothing in the gauge since 9 a.m. Not only did it look a little nicer today, but it felt nicer as well as those Arctic winds eased off. It was cloudy over the suburbs and most made it to 14 degrees. The wind chill factor today made it feel just a few degrees colder. Across Victoria, isolated light showers continued over southern parts of the state, but falls were only very light. It was cloudy across the south. The north had a little bit of sunshine. Temperatures were again below the May average, mostly ranging from 11 at Ballarat to 16 at Wodonga. Taking a look at the satellite, that strong low has moved off to the east and there's now a large high pressure system heading towards us. That high will slowly move across Victoria on Monday and will be centred over us on Tuesday. So Monday is staying cool right across the state with light southwest to southerly winds, but Tuesday is dry, cool and mild with plenty of sunshine. It'll feel much nicer as those winds turn northerly. Wednesday is sunny and mild as well. Thursday will be warm. Many areas will reach the 20s, but showers will extend in from the west with a cold front, which will slide away during the day to our southeast. Around the nation for tomorrow, sunny in Brisbane and Sydney, cloudy 18 in Adelaide and a possible storm in Perth. But in Victoria, morning fog inland and frost across the northeast, dry and partly cloudy across the north, mostly cloudy across the south with isolated morning showers. It'll be cool once again with light southwest to southerly winds. Closer in, cloudy with just the slight chance of a shower over the western suburbs. They are more likely over our eastern suburbs again. If we get any rain at all, it will be in the morning, clearing by the afternoon. Staying cool, temperatures mostly in the mid-teens. A shower is possible in the city tomorrow morning. We can expect a low of 10 and a top of 15 again. Then we have some nicer autumn days, 18 and mostly sunny on Tuesday, 19 partly cloudy on Wednesday, up to 21 on Thursday. Beautiful day ahead. A possible shower on Friday, 18, and next Saturday is looking cold and wet, 15 on both days. Mike.
Thanks, Mel. And that's 7 News on this Sunday night in Melbourne. We'll have updates throughout the evening, but for now, from the 7 News team, have a great night.
Just